everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Comment Section. That's right, guys. We got some segments of news to talk to you about. We got some rabbit hole to talk to you about. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is our last comment section before Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's right. So we do have some Spider-Man topics to bring up as well. So
yeah.
Actually, honestly, most of my stuff is Spider-Man related.
Okay.
So,
then it's a Spider-Man episode, and we'll say I'm bringing up, as a little teaser, a piece of media that does involve people flying through the air through a city. So it's a little like Spider-Man.
Yes, a little bit. It's at least consistent to what Spider-Man has to go through in his world. Whether it's people who actually can fly or fly on gliders, like his best friend, the Green Goblin.
Yes.
So, as we do normally when we start this show, I will turn to you and ask, what have you been watching lately?
Yeah, well, I've got what I've been reading lately, because that's right.
Yes, even better.
Everyone on their screens. Guess what? I looked away from screen for a little bit. I actually had a recent trip to Chicago, where I stayed a few days there. And I was wandering the neighborhood I was in, and I found a really cool comic shop called Chicago Comics. Really, really cool comic shop. And I picked up something there that caught my eye. It is a volume of comics. What comic company?
Starting to wish you had taken pictures of it to show us all what was inside that comic shop.
It's a very cool comic shop, but I do have what it is though. I have the volume here from Boom. Animal Pound. I thought it seemed like a cool concept. And it's been very good. But it's a comic series about animals in the authoritarian setting of an animal pound. It's a little bit of a... we had an episode where we talked about the questionable Animal Farm movie that... This is sort of an inspired by Animal Farm comic series, and but is a little bit more of a biting and modern commentary than I think some of the misreads of Animal Farm that we've seen over the years. This one's like more like applicable to our modern. It's not a direct adaptation. It's a adaptation with a particular message in mind, and it's been very good. So I thought I just wanted to more often shout out lesser known comics. This is Tom King, Peter Gross, and Tamara Von Villen.
Tom King, a lot of his stuff is being adapted right now in James Gunn's DC universe. I believe he also did
DC stuff.
Yeah, I think he did a lot of Batman. Did he do Woman of Tomorrow? Let me check. I think that was one he did. Superman or Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Woman of Tomorrow. Let's see. Yeah, Tom King. Yeah, I think he did a lot. Yeah, he's done a lot of Batman. Yeah, so he's done a lot of DC stuff. I don't know if he's done any Marvel. Yeah, his big stuff is Batman, Mr. Miracle, and Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Oh, yes. So...
But yeah, what have you been watching or reading or whatever?
Well, I guess I can keep it on brand and say what I've been reading lately. Let's see. What's the latest thing I read? You know, I did bring up a little bit, but maybe I'll give a little more detail about it. Batman Resurrection. It was the book set between Batman 1989 and Batman Returns, and oh my god, It was so good. You know, when they first announced it, I was excited. Boy, did it surpass my expectations. Because it's a book that, like, clearly was written in 2026 because it really plays off the continuity of the first movie. You know, because back in the day, it wasn't like how it is today where stuff is serialized.
Yeah.
But this book really bridges the gap and adds a lot of continuity between those two.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they did a great. The writer. Let me look up what his name was. I think it was John.
Looks like John Jackson Miller.
Yeah, that's who he is. He did a great job with it. What he did was, it's set like right after the 1989 movie. So Gotham City is still kind of dealing with the aftermath of the Joker. So and Batman is still having to deal with the aftermath. Like, because remember, in Tim Burton's universe, that's also the guy who killed his parents. So he's having nightmares still of the Joker. And we see what happened about kind of how his relationship with Vicky Vale didn't work out. We bring back Alexander Knox, who we haven't seen since the first movie. I gotta say that his name is Miller. Miller did a great job writing, you know, Keaton's version of Batman, making him feel like that Batman, because, I mean, compared to, like, Affleck and Pattinson, Keaton, while a dark version, still was able to play, like, comedic bits. So you have that in there. I really felt like, because this was a book, longer format, it really humanized Keaton's version of Batman. It made him more like the animated series Batman, where, like, you have, like, Batman rescues, like, kids from a fire and tells them, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. Like, it really humanized him more. And he gives a bigger role to Alfred in the book. And Alfred, Michael Gough's Alfred, was such a great character in those first 4 movies. They really made it feel like, he actually feels a lot like Alfred in the Joel Schumacher movies, where he is more of a father figure to Bruce, and their relationship was great to see. They introduced the Burtonverse versions of Hugo Strange, which feels perfect for the Burton universe version of Batman. And without spoiling it, you've seen Hugo Strange in Batman 1989. You've seen him in there. So I won't say what it is, but... And also they introduced the Burtonverse version of Clayface, which was very similar to the one from the 90s cartoon, where he is this actor who goes through... He's actually affected by Joker's Smilex chemical. That's what turns him into Clayface. And then, kind of like how all the villains in the Burton and Schumacher movies team up, Strange teams up with Clayface. I won't get into it. But man, did they find an interesting way to continue Joker's story. I won't get into it, but I'll just say it was awesome. So, I think really the only negative thing I have with the book is some of the technology doesn't... There's 2 things in the book. Like, Batman has a specific costume he wears in one scene, and then he uses a glider thing that didn't feel like it fit within Burton's movies.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was just a treat revisiting that universe, revisiting Keaton's version of Batman, and really both paying off stuff that happened in Batman 1989 and setting up Batman Returns. Like Max Schreck, you know, Christopher Walken from Batman Returns, he appears in that book. You get a little cameo appearance of Selena Kyle. And it just was like, it was a great addition to the Burtonverse legacy. And I have to say, out of the 3 we've really been lucky these past few years. We've really been having a Keaton renaissance, because it feels like the past few years, everyone's just accepted Michael Keaton is the best live-action Batman. So we've gotten some bonus stuff. So out of the Flash movie, the Batman 1989 comic book, and Batman Resurrections, I still haven't read the second book or the second graphic novel. But out of those three, Batman Resurrections is my favorite.
Nice.
Of the 2020s Michael Keaton Batman stories we've had, that one's my favorite. So if anyone loves the Michael Keaton Batman as much as me, go check it out. It is so good.
Cool. Awesome. Cool to hear the novel was working. I was going to ask if you had read that there's Batman Revolution. Yeah. It's a duology.
Yeah, that one I haven't read yet, but they do set it up. They do set it up.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that one also takes place before Batman Returns.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. No, but I do have it. I'm anxious to get into it.
Yes.
Along with the second graphic novel, Batman, I think it's 89 Shadows. That's Sam Hamm, the writer of the first movie, doing his take on what Batman 5 would have been if they had continued after Batman Robin.
Oh,
so you have Scarecrow and Harley Quinn in there. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So that's what we've been reading lately.
Yes.
Do you want to then hop into some news, starting with your news?
Sure, why not? So, again, got a lot of Spider-Man topics. I think I realized I only have one non-Spider-Man topic. I might even throw that one out. Yeah,
you can just make it Spider-Man centric.
Yes. So, a lot of people are counting down to, besides Spider-Man, Avengers Doomsday. And one character that people are looking forward to, especially after Thunderbolts, is the new Black Widow, Natasha's sister, Yelena, played by Florence Pugh. Now, let me see if I get this right, Billy World in Shanghai, that must be like a Comic-Con or something. Kevin Feige was on stage and talked about how Yelena has a big role in Avengers Doomsday. Now, this is what he said. He said, but if you don't want to wait until then, Avengers Doomsday, you might see Yelena a little bit sooner in the movies. Now, obviously, the only other movie upcoming besides Doomsday is Spider-Man Brand New Day. So a lot of people have been taking it as, oh, Kevin Feige just confirmed that Yelena's in Spider-Man Brand New Day. However, I want to propose an ulterior theory. There's also the Avengers Endgame re-release that they said they're filming new footage for to insert in there.
Oh.
While everyone thinks that she's going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think she's going to be in the Avengers Endgame re-release.
Okay.
So, yeah. So we know we are going to see Florence Pugh in one of the new, again, in a movie before Doomsday, but I think it's Avengers Endgame. So I guess I'll turn it to you. Which one do you think is more likely to see Florence Pugh as the new Black Widow? Spider-Man Brand New Day or Avengers Endgame?
Yeah, I see your point, and I tend to agree that it would probably be in that, because, what are they shooting for it? I think that would make sense. I don't exactly know how it would be introduced in a re-release for Endgame. That part I'm not wise to, but I almost kind of do see it more likely in that than Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah, so, again, I don't think she'll be in Spider-Man Brand New Day, but hypothetically, if she was, what kind of role would she play? Some people think she could be like an alternate love interest for Spider-Man, kind of like a Black Cat type character.
Yeah.
I don't see in a movie where Peter is trying to reestablish his relationship with both MJ and Ned. I don't necessarily see them introducing a new love interest for him
Yeah.
while he's trying to get back to with MJ. But maybe there is something where he has to decide they are better without me, and he finds a kindred spirit in Yolanda. I don't think that's what they would do, but I mean, hypothetically, if she were in Brand New Day, do you have an idea of what type of role she would play in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Like, I so don't have an idea that that's why I can't picture. Like, that's why I don't think it'll happen. It just doesn't feel like it fits into any concept of this movie that I could imagine taking place. It does feel like a lot of the character work would be based around, you know, MJ and Ned, in sort of. I mean, yeah, I suppose he, by in theory, would have to have some kind of new life outside of them. So I guess there's some opportunities there, but um, it seems a little hard to shoehorn in a character like this as one of those people. So beyond agreeing with what you said, I can't picture a role that she would have.
Yeah. So since it sounds like we both think that she'll be in Avengers Endgame, I could almost see maybe they shoot a scene where she finds out, like you see her finding out about the death of Natasha.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the scene they film, because there's some talk, I don't know how true it is, that because you know about how Scarlett Johansson sued Disney over the whole Black Widow thing. It sounds like
Yeah.
there might be some bad blood, but like the guys who Bob Chapek is gone now, so
Yeah.
I could almost see them. I don't know if they would filming a scene where, like, do you remember there was a deleted scene where, like, Tony, like, after he dies, he, like, sees a vision of, like, his adult daughter or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I could almost see, like, something like that. Like, maybe Scarlett Johansson films a scene, like, right when she's about, like, you cut away as she's falling in that one place with Red Skull. Kind of her, kind of maybe saying goodbye to her sister or whatever. Or you cut to a flashback of the two of them together. Maybe
Right.
something like that. But I kind of feel like those are probably the two options for her in Avengers Endgame. Like, maybe it's either they cut to her when Black Widow dies, kind of a farewell between the two, or it's Yolanda. I think the most likely one, because Scarlett Johansson got to put up some money to get her back to film those scenes.
Yeah.
I think most likely is there'll be a scene where, like, one of the Avengers, maybe Steve, maybe Hulk, goes to tell Yolanda about how Natasha sacrificed herself. That's kind of what I think is the most likely thing. So, any
Mm-hmm.
guesses of if she does appear in Endgame, what kind of role she might have? By the way, who would have thought we'd be talking about Endgame like this in 2026?
Yeah. um. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, even though I can see it more than Brand New Day, I still uh am at a loss for what those scenes would be in Endgame. Except, following up in some way sometime after the death of Black Widow to establish how Florence Pugh's character is the new Black Widow, and somehow establishing that, even if it's at the end or post credits or something. But that would be the only thing that I could get my head to as far as an idea.
Oh, yes. So, now, hypothetically, again, this is all hypothetical stuff we're talking about. But if Yolanda is in Avengers Endgame, does that open the door to other characters popping up? Like, do you think we could see one of the newer characters? Like, well, in that art, the only new one we really had was Shang-Chi. So maybe Shang-Chi could pop up. Do you think, like, we could get an appearance from someone like Doctor Doom, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men? I don't think Fantastic Four or X-Men, but I could see some type of post-credit scene with Doctor Doom.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you gotta wonder if they're re-releasing it with some extra footage. It's gotta be connecting things further. And I think the biggest way to do that would be characters that weren't around by the time of Endgame, so we're including them, and leading up to Doctor Doom. So I think that would be exactly right. It would be something in that sphere.
You know what I could almost see happening for the post-credit scene? Do you remember how in Avengers Endgame there is no post-credit scene? It's just the sound of back from the first Iron Man where Tony's pounding on the helmet that he's building in the cave.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
What if they did that, but then it cuts and you don't see his face? You just see that scene recreated, but in Latveria, and it's Doctor Doom making the Doom mask, and it ends with him putting the mask on and him walking out, and you see Doctor Doom.
Yeah, that's cool. I definitely think there's gonna be, a post-credits Doctor Doom. Makes a lot of sense.
Yes. So, we'll see. I mean, we are about 2 weeks away from the movie coming out, so we'll see if Yolanda was in there or not. I don't think she is in there, but I think she's in Endgame, but we shall see. So that's pretty much all I had for if the new Black Widow will appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day. But really, Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let us get into something. We'll take a little break from Spider-Man before getting back into Spider-Man. We'll do something I'm excited about, a bit of news I'm excited about. I always am keeping an eye out and an ear open for what's the next epic fantasy adaptation that's gonna work. What can I get my hopes up for? This is the next thing I'm going to get my hopes up for, which is the announcement that we're finally getting an adaptation of Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series into a trilogy of movies. So for those who don't know, like I assume you, Mistborn, well, I should start. Brandon Sanderson is a pretty prolific epic fantasy writer who's written the Mistborn series as well as the Stormlight Archive. A big portion of the stuff he writes is in a universe called the Cosmere. Is
that why it says original trilogy? Is it kind of like Star Wars?
Original
It says at the bottom,
trilogy.
original
Yeah.
trilogy book 3.
Oh, yeah. So that's because this is like, yeah, there's going to be another trilogy of Mistborn
Okay.
books. Um but yeah, it's been a long road to get where we are now with this Mistborn adaptation. The first book in the first trilogy, Mistborn: The Final Empire, came out in 2006. There was a potential first chance at making a movie in 2009, but it hasn't gotten this far until now in 2026. The news is Brandon Sanderson, in internet posts and also a 30-minute podcast, went into detail about things finally getting properly into motion about a Mistborn movie adaptation. So it was announced that it is officially going to be adapted by Apple TV into 3 movies, so not a series, which I actually think is kind of refreshing that it's not being turned into a series and is instead going to be a trilogy of movies.
Is that how you would prefer it? Just to be in movies and not a series?
Yes, which I'm a fan of TV, but recent adaptations of epic fantasy into a series have not worked that well. Which I'll get into this again in a bit, but one example is The Wheel of Time, which is something I brought up being excited for on the show, and the series did not pan out so much. Also, Rings of Power, I really wish that I liked that more, but yeah, just kind of epic fantasy.
Was there a
Feeling a
season
bit
2
off,
of
not
that?
working.
Because I heard a lot of people
Yeah,
say season 2 is better, I think. I think that was the show.
yes, but I didn't make it to season 2. Maybe I should. um, but yeah. So Mistborn is a series. I mentioned people jumping around through the air in a city. That's because this is a series about a team of people, and particularly the character of Vin, who's the main character. Um, they are a group of magic users called Allomancers, which is a type of magic system that Brandon Sanderson created, of manipulating metals into magic. So manipulating tin or copper and uh, doing magic and with uh, by expending metals. It's a very interesting magic system that this whole thing's built around, but it's ultimately, I feel, pretty character driven around the character of Vin, who is, discovering that she is a Mistborn, which is a person who specializes in all of the different types of metals and of types of magic, allomancy. But it's also a story about, an evil empire and the unpowerful people overcoming a powerful, authoritarian evil empire and planning a rebellion. So there's something that sounds a little Star Warsy as well. But this is
Oh,
a
yeah.
more medieval fantasy kind of feeling thing. Um, but yes, so it is officially being adapted by Apple TV. Some highlights from Brandon Sanderson talking about this. He was weighing selling the rights to a bunch of different companies, and it seems that the pitch from Apple was the best, but also the amount of control and protection over this IP he was probably most satisfied with from Apple. The levels of approvals and control, wanting to be a partner with him, so he has some control over the vision, and and so as a result, so Apple has bought not just rights to the Mistborn series, but of the entire Cosmere, which means we might be seeing Stormlight Archive adaptations, which is a series that I'm currently reading, which is an even more like epic fantasy, really, really long books, and there's 5 in that series. But unlike Game of Thrones, it's actually done. He can actually finish. He can actually finish a book.
Take that, George R. Martin.
Yeah. So the Cosmere is being sold. It's just starting with Mistborn. And it kind of seems like Brandon Sanderson is taking a sort of Kevin Feige-like role as the mastermind of the whole thing, which I think is cool. Is cool amount of creative control that he's getting, being both the creative behind the series, the author, and also getting to make decisions about adapting it loyally. And although he is making some changes to the movie, but ultimately there are decisions that he has made that were decisions he's made there. So, getting back to a quick worry, bringing up the Wheel of Time, a series that a lot of people and myself think did not quite work. The Wheel of Time actually, even though it is primarily the work of Robert Jordan, after Robert Jordan passed away, he essentially handed over finishing the series to Brandon Sanderson. So Brandon Sanderson has authored the last few Wheel of Time books. So he really can finish the series. He actually finished a series for an author who did not finish the series. So that's the closest thing we've ever gotten to a Brandon Sanderson adaptation is Wheel of Time. Changes were made to that series that ruin characters, and there's a general off feel about the whole thing that stems, I think, from just epic fantasy being really hard to do right. However, Brandon Sanderson, as far as I understand, not involved in the screenplay, did not have a level of control. It wasn't primarily his series anyway. This Mistborn, Stormlight Archive, these are his children, and the sole creative mind behind the novels, and he will be the creative mind in charge of making this happen. Starting probably with hiring a producer, figuring out director who will match the vision. And a screenplay should be done. Actually, in the podcast, he mentioned the screenplay should be done by July 1st, so it should already be done.
TikTok!
Yeah. And that's another thing that's like, is someone having complete and total creative control? It's not always a good thing. But it sounded like he had an understanding that, like, there's a difference between the art of writing a novel and a screenplay. So there's an expectation that even though he's writing the screenplay for the first Mistborn movie, that someone else will probably be brought in whose specialty is screenwriting to help actually complete it into a final script.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's a good understanding of not just being a good writer, but how to try and be a good uh for lack of a word, showrunner to figure out how to make this thing work as a movie. So yeah, very excited. I'm always very excited when there's a new epic fantasy that's really getting proper production value thrown into it, because that's what the Cosmere really needs. Because it is expensive to make epic fantasies. And
Oh yeah, that Lord of the Rings show is really expensive.
yes. It's infamously expensive to make epic fantasies. So, that's why, it's really hard to do right. I think the pieces here exist to do it right. I'm excited about the amount of creative control that Brandon Sanderson seems to have and the care he's taking to make it happen. So a little rabbit hole question to stem off of this, because it's rare an IP that I love and hold dear. It's rare that I'm privy to the news of one of those on this level. And I was excited about a lot about what I heard here. But my question for you is what are to kind of help me figure out if I'm everything I'm looking at, like what is there to hope for? Not necessarily about this or what I've said here today, but I'm in general for you when there is a new movie that you believe is going to be adapted off of a comic book or something. What are some good early signs for you that an adaptation is going to work?
I think one of the signs is who's the production company like involved in it. Like I think having this go to Apple TV is a really good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Because Apple TV right now does have a really good reputation of high quality stuff. Like they are really the streaming service of we don't have a lot of stuff, but what we do have is very high quality. We are quality over quantity.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah. I think your Severance and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think another thing is, I mean, it could go either way. Normally, having the original creator involved is a good thing. I think that is a good sign, as long as he is not a dictator on the set of just like, you kind of gotta know, because I believe people who write novels do talk about how going from writing a novel to a screenplay is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
It almost seems like it's easier for like comic book writers because so much of what they write is dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of directing it to like with the artist who's going to help bring it to life. But I think having the original creator involved is a good sign, especially because even if he's not going to write, oh well, this is a movie, isn't it? Even if there's going to be, I think, another screenwriter brought in to help punch up the script.
Yeah.
He's going to be a very good resource to be like, hey, what do you think about this? And they can bounce ideas off each other. And I think that's a really good sign too. So, yeah, do you know, is there anyone else attached to this besides just the author?
Yeah, he talked about this a little in the podcast as well, that it really was an announcement that we are going to start making those decisions, and none of them have been made yet. The first decision was selling the rights to a studio, which is Apple TV. the next things are a deadline for the script and choosing a producer. And those have not been announced yet.
Okay, so it's still pretty in the early stages, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
The
so
fact
far.
that there was such like a quick deadline, like it sounded like from selling it to the deadline on the script. I don't know how normal that is, but it felt like they were really like, okay, let's get this going. Um,
Yeah.
it kind of felt that way to me. I'm so crossing my fingers that it won't be a super long turnaround, but it's certainly not going to be in the next couple of years. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I'm expecting like it's gonna be probably a lot of special effects that they're gonna have to work on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is yeah, probably why they wanted a script so fast.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you got to have that first. Yeah.
Had they taken? I know you said they've been talking about it since 2006, right? Of adapting it.
Yeah, that's when the book came out. 2009 was the first time a movie almost got made about it.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
if they took a crack at a script then, and they showed it to Apple TV then and said, okay, go kind of do what you would take this script and kind of punch it up for what you would do in 2026.
Yeah. Well, I know in the mid 2010s, it actually got as far as there were some casting decisions made.
Oh.
I don't think that there was anything like a final script. He said in the podcast that he felt he was 10% done with the script at that time, and that podcast came out a couple months ago. So it sounds like he's doing even if there was some kind of script at some point, it sounds like this is a new one. But yeah. But yeah, everything you said about how to know what, like the good signs. Yeah, I do think someone with too much control can be a bad thing. Sounds like there's some understanding that other people have different expertise, and that you're taking more of a producer role where you're finding good people who can help make this into a good movie, and that as the creative force behind the story, being in charge of things mostly is just helping maintain that the vision behind the novel is held into the movie, that there is, at least while there might be changes, that the spirit of it is kept true. And that's hopeful to me.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe if he keeps working along with other screenwriters, he can get to a point where he can write the scripts himself and stuff like that. I think the next big thing to know, to either be hopeful or not, is who they get to direct it.
Yes.
'Cause that's really going to be the big thing. Because even though he's the Kevin Feige, the Russo brothers movies are different than Ryan Coogler's, which were different than Jon Favreau's. So,
yeah, that the director will be one of the biggest creative choices because it will define the style. Another interesting thing that Brandon Sanderson said to me was that he really wanted to do the approach of getting a really, really solid script so that there's few changes from that and there's no reshoots. Like, basically, like, starting with an incredibly solid script, and that's the starting point for everything. And I thought that was an interesting approach.
yeah, you don't want to be on the set being like, oh God, we got to change this now.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people talk about, a movie is made 3 times. Once when you write it, when you film it, and then when you edit it.
Right, yeah. Yeah. So that's good. But yes, that is one of the things I am most excited to see, or hopefully over these next few years. Um, and I'm glad to hear that. I mean, as long as it is taken, and as much as there have been failed attempts, it's not like there's a script being passed around for years and years, and
Yeah.
like rights being shifted from place to place. Um, it sounds like at one point he got the rights back, full rights, and he shopped around for the right place to produce it with the most creative control. So this isn't really a production hell situation. This is starting fresh, trying to make it work. And yeah, I'm excited. Mistborn.
Oh, yes. Did they say a potential... They probably didn't say, like, here's where we're aiming for to release it, did they?
No, I don't believe so. I don't think it's far enough along for that, I would assume. So yeah.
Oh,
There
yes.
we go. Which
Oh, real quick,
means,
did they say,
yes.
because it's Apple TV, did they say if it would be theatrical or just on the streaming service?
That's a good question. That is one like I kind of hope. I mean, they're movies. It's epic fantasy. You're spending a lot of money on it. I kind of hope this is Apple TV saying we're gonna do a theatrical release. Like, I hope that's the case.
Because I
Of
think
course.
that's what they have been doing in most of their movies is putting them in theaters.
Oh, Apple TV has.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I certainly hope so. This feels like the kind of thing that really deserves a theatrical release. Like, it is an epic story. Even the first one, like, without spoiling it, I felt that the first book in the series ended where I thought the whole trilogy would end. Like, it was so grand, so epic, such a big moment, such a huge climax that it felt like it was ending a trilogy. It was so epic. I will say, like, there are a lot of authors where the complaint is they don't know how to end books. Like people like
Yeah.
Stephen King and stuff. They're like, they know how to make a plot, but you don't know how to end it. Brandon Sanderson is like, he really knows how to end the book. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So, let's, I guess, jump back into Spider-Man?
We could, although I could quickly bring up one other thing that is probably going to be 2 minutes because it's kind of a head scratcher of what?
Okay.
So, did you know this came out last week? Did you know Warner Brothers is going to reboot Free Willy? That's
Reboot
right.
Free Willy. It's not something I ever thought I'd hear.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah.
So this comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. So the script will be written by Mary Margaret Coons and Jade Haley Bartlett. And Coons' previous work was she was a creative executive at Marvel Television, and she worked on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Daredevil. So that is a pretty good work history. She was also a co-executive producer for the Netflix series The Burrows. And Bartlett wrote and directed the 2024 film Miller's Girl. Now, here's something that's interesting. Anthony and Joe Russo will be executive producers with Warner Bros. Partnering with their production company AGBO for the film. Now, for those of you who don't know, the original Free Willy film was released in 1993. It followed a troubled orphan named Jesse, who, after getting in trouble, must work at like a theme park, kind of like a SeaWorld.
Yeah.
So while there, he becomes friends with an orca named Willy. He later works with other park employees to free Willy. Haha, there we go. That's how you get the title, guys. To free Willy and release him back into the ocean. Now, there were 2 sequels released in theaters in 1995 and 1997. there was also an animated TV show that aired from 1994 to 1995, which I do remember watching on Saturday mornings on ABC. And there was also a direct-to-video reboot released in 2010. Now, if you were a 90s kid, who watched Warner Brothers movies, specifically, if you watched the VHS tapes of Batman Robin or Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, you were guaranteed 3 trailers at the beginning of those tapes. You had Quest for Camelot, you had the opposite Batman movie, and you had Free Willy 3: The Rescue. And also, I remember renting Batman Forever. There's a preview for Free Willy 2 on there. So, you know, it very much is like if you were a fan of 90s Warner Brothers, you remember Free Willy. There's also a great Simpsons episode. I don't know if you saw it, where Homer watches the director's cut of Free Willy, where, you know, there's that scene where the whale jumps over the kid.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he doesn't make it that far and crushes the kid to death. And Homer's like, I don't like this director's cut.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, by the way, I gotta say, I think that the score for Free Willy is like one of the most underrated movie scores of all time.
Really?
Like, when you hear the score that's in all 3 movies, like, it really stands out. Like,
yeah.
I
remember it being good. Yeah. The score, yeah.
So I remember thinking, yeah, it has a very underrated score. Now, look, I enjoyed Free Willy growing up. You know, I'm not going to lie. A few days ago, I was like, you know what, maybe I should try to revisit it, but I'm a little scared to.
Yeah.
So, like, I enjoyed Free Willy, but I'm also just like, is anyone asking for this? Like, and look, any idea can be a good idea, right? But, like, I don't know. Doesn't it feel like whenever you tell a movie about a troubled kid becoming friends with an animal, it's all the same thing?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look, people talk about this myth that all superhero movies are the same, or whatever. People will talk about all cop movies are the same. But, like, I mean, come on, guys. Like, a troubled kid meeting an animal, aren't they all kind of the same thing? You know what you're going to get with it. So,
yeah.
I mean, at least it's not a dog, because otherwise the dog would have died at the end, because that's always what happens.
Yeah.
But, I should also mention there was a 2010 direct-to-video or direct-to-DVD movie in 2010, but who cares? I don't know. I don't think this movie will happen. I think they're going to turn in a script. I think right now, because of the sale to Paramount, they are trying to get as many of their IPs up and running as possible. I mean, I can't see anyone outside of 90s kids really caring about Free Willy. And then even then, I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have a negative and actually a positive takeaway that I can think of this. The negative, similar to you, my gut reaction is, I think as far as finding IPs to reboot, I think we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Not that it's bad. It's just like, what needs to be remade? What makes, not remade, but, you know, rebooted? I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe it's a different script, but a Free Willy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, is the only thing that sells a movie that there's nostalgia, because this movie was good in the 90s, and so therefore,
well, I mean, could this movie really survive nostalgia, though? I mean, no one talks about it. Its shelf life is done.
Like, I feel like there's a very niche of people who feel so nostalgic over Free Willy. Yeah, but that's my negative. The positive that I thought of is, you know, it could be prescient to tell an environmental story in the 2020s. There could be an interesting way to lean into that, to tell a more modern environmental story. So maybe there's a really good pitch, a really good script for something that feels like it's, touching on some of the same themes from the first one, but in a modern way. But that's me trying to find, like, what could 2026, or more likely 2029 or something,
Yeah.
what could that year, what use could a Free Willy movie be in that year? The only positive I can think of is something like that.
Yeah. So I said I don't think this movie happens. What do you think?
Oh yeah. I think someone will realize that it's not a good idea somewhere down the line. So yeah, it'll probably not happen.
Oh yeah. So there you go, guys. Still got the original. Go pop that on HBO Max, I think it is.
Yeah.
All right. So shall we move back to Spider-Man?
Yeah. Another thing that leaping into the air.
Oh, that's true.
Like Willy.
So this one is what I'm excited about, because did you know? Now, we both grew up reading the graphic novel with the first 10 issues. Remember that?
Yep.
Marvel Masterworks.
Yep.
Did you know that we're about to have Amazing Spider-Man number 1000?
1,000. Wow.
Yes. So, Marvel has released its final variants of the book. And you can see right there, let me see if I can bring it down. We've got Amazing Spider-Man number 1000 by one of my favorite artists, John Romita Jr. That's right. So, you got him right there. I don't know if it'll let me show. Oh, I don't want to log into X. But I'll try and bring it up some other way. But
okay.
You can see the side, an unpublished Steve Ditko design that's an alternate cover. By the way, gosh, shout out. So there was this big controversy a few weeks ago where people were unhappy with one of John Romita Jr.'s covers, and Marvel decided we're not going to release it. And everyone was like, how dare you? You do not do that to John Romita Jr. He is one of the holy members of the Spider-Man artist family. You don't do that. But they reversed it, and now he's getting a second one. So good for him. One of the best Spider-Man. Oh, I'll have to bring up. Oh, let's see. Yeah. I'll have to bring up. But there are a ton of covers for this. Let me see if I can bring up the thing. Let's see. There was a link down here. Oh, here it is. All right. Here we go, guys. I got to copy and paste everything, all these links, just because Twitter wanted to irritate me. All right. So here's the kind of the main cover by, once again, one of my favorite artists, John Romita Jr. Yeah, that's the main cover.
Good stuff.
And then let's see, because they got a bunch of these. There is this one by Pepe Larraz and Marte Garcia. That's a really cool one. I mean, look at all these that we've got down here.
Wow. Yeah. That's a variety.
I'll just scroll through them and see if any of them really pop out at us.
Yeah.
Oh, you got Spidey on a horse?
Yeah, there's something about the lighting on that one on the left that's very cool to me. And the sort of flexion-looking character faces.
Yeah.
That one's cool. Oh, I also like the sort of collage look on the one on the right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a Spider-Man Brand New Day one. Let's see. Oh, load more? Look at all these covers. So many people. I feel bad for those. Oh, they got the pointing one from the '60s
you
show.
gotta have that. Yep.
Oh, Mark Bagley. Oh, you gotta have Mark Bagley.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Steve Ditko's design.
Oh, okay.
There's a black and white one, and
that's cool.
there it is in color. A Muppet Show one with pizza from Pizza Rizzo's from Disney World.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are the covers. So this issue has such an exciting lineup.
Yeah.
Because you've got besides the main story by the current writer Joe Kelly and artist Pepe Larraz, it will also feature these stories, okay? So you've got Now I Can Rest by Dan Slott and Marcos Martin. You've got, this is the one I'm most excited about, this next one, The Gesture by Brian Michael Bendis and Stuart Inonin. Brian Michael Bendis was the writer of Ultimate Spider-Man of the 2000s, which basically every 21st Spider-Man story is based on that book. So Brian Michael Bendis being part of Amazing Spider-Man 1000 just makes total sense.
Yeah.
Here's another one to get excited about. We're going to have the story Tears of the Spider-Queen by Frank Miller and Peach Momoko. So Frank Miller, the guy behind Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One, Daredevil Born Again, the artist of the Wolverine miniseries where he goes to Japan. He's going to do a Spider-Man story with Peach Momoko, who was the writer and artist on the recent Ultimate X-Men book that a lot of people loved. So that's really exciting. You got Still Standing by Noah Hawley and Patrick Gleason, Requiem for a Goblin by J.M. DeMatteis and Humberto Ramos, who J.M. DeMatteis obviously does a lot of stuff. He recently did the Spider-Man 94 comic book, so that's exciting to have him back. And another one is Of Webs and Six Guns by Larry Lieber, Stan Lee's brother, and also Giuseppe Camuncoli, who is, again, you see his art, great artist. So those are some really good, it's such an exciting lineup for this book. So I guess because there was so much information about what's going on in issue 1000, I guess I'll turn to you and ask, does anything really pop out at you before I ask another question about issue 1000?
Pop out at me, not necessarily, because, I mean, believe it or not, I haven't caught up all the way to 1000. Although I wish I could say that I had. But hey, yeah, the Brian Michael Bendis thing, that's, I guess that pops out at me. That's exciting detail.
Oh, yes. So we saw, I didn't even realize that they did a 60s Spider-Man cover with the pointing thing. We're seeing a Brand New Day cover. Is there an era, now we're going to have fun talking about variant covers, but is there an era of Spider-Man or an adaptation of Spider-Man that you, regardless of rights or whatever, an era or version of Spider-Man that you think should be included as a cover of Amazing Spider-Man 1000?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I'm sure there is this, but, sort of, well, actually, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name. Who's the guy from the era of, like, the death of Gwen Stacy? And,
Gary Conway?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I guess, what would that be, like a late 70s or 80s? I forget the timing, but like...
Night Gwen Stacy Died was published in 1973.
Gotcha, okay. So yeah, something from that era would be cool. But I'm just trying to rack my brain thinking of, the obvious answer for me would be an homage to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man itself. But yeah, those are some ideas.
Oh yes. So, I mean, I can delete one because I didn't realize that it was included. I would have included the '60s cartoon, but now I know it's in there. I would include, obviously, you said Tobey Maguire. I would also include Andrew Garfield. That way, all, the live action Spider Man are included. I would include the '90s cartoon, the Spectacular Spider Man cartoon, the Insomniac games, and then, of course, the Spider-Verse movies with Miles and Peter B. Parker. Obviously, I don't think they can use those because there might be some rights issues, so they have to get permission from Sony. But again, in a perfect world, I would love to see those be included. But yeah, I am very excited for Amazing Spider-Man number 1000, especially for the Brian Michael Bendis and Frank Miller stories.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I guess I realized I did lie. I did have a DC story if you wanted to bring that up.
Sure.
All right, guys. Now, normally, it's not much to talk about DC because, well, I mean, what have we said that hasn't been said already about James Gunn? But we can sometimes reflect on the past, and that's what we're about to do here. Because recently, J.K. Simmons, who most of us know as J. Jonah Jameson, but at one time, he was Commissioner Gordon. J.K. Simmons recently talked about the canceled Batgirl movie. That's right. So, this comes to us from the Happy, Sad, and Confused podcast, which does some really good interviews. So Batgirl was going to be an installment of the DC Extended Universe, which obviously we know started with Man of Steel, continued with Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. And it would have starred Leslie Grace as Batgirl, J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, Brendan Fraser as Firefly, and Michael Keaton as Batman. Now, obviously, for those of you who don't remember, just to catch you guys up, the Flash movie was going, because Ben Affleck left being Batman, the Flash movie was going to end with Michael Keaton replacing Ben Affleck as Batman, which is why he's in Batgirl, and he also filmed a scene for Aquaman 2. So, it was greenlit as an HBO Max movie, just like Blue Beetle was, but then Blue Beetle got bumped to being in theaters, and then Batgirl was just going to be an HBO Max movie. Because the idea was that the HBO Max movies would allow you to explore lesser-known characters like Blue Beetle and Batgirl.
Yeah.
So, it was scrapped as a tax write-off in 2022, along with Scoob Holiday Haunt, and Warner Brothers tried to do the same thing with Coyote vs. Acme before Ketchup Entertainment saved it. So here's what Simmons said about the whole cancellation of Batgirl on the podcast. He said, "It's bizarre. Apparently one test audience saw it, and it wasn't like it was a bad score from the test audience. It was a whatever business decision, obviously." And he went on to say, "We really had a good time making it and thought it was going to be a fun superhero movie." So, yeah, that's what happened with Batgirl, and then, it got canceled, and, it's kind of ironic. Am I going to go there? Yes, I will. It's kind of ironic for Peter Safran to say, you know what? It was brave for David Zaslav to cancel Batgirl, because that movie would have harmed the DC brand. Well, Peter, why didn't you cancel Supergirl? Because that's exactly what just happened to your DC universe. Which, by the way, there was a whole Hollywood Reporter article that talked about how Supergirl, its testing was in the same range as Batgirl.
Oh, okay.
And so did, I think, Shazam 2. So, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, Batgirl is a movie can't help but think about, because it had Michael Keaton as Batman. Somewhere on a hard drive, there's a Michael Keaton performance as Batman sitting there. So, I guess I'll ask you, what are your thoughts about J.K. Simmons' comments? And, we have Coyote versus Acme coming out next month. What do you think are the chances? Could Batgirl ever see the light of day?
Yeah. Well, on his comments, I think he's being a little safe, but it does make apparent that, there's a good point in there, which is that, middling reactions has never stopped you before. It's clearly the reactions weren't so negative that this couldn't possibly see the light of day. It would harm the brand. We've seen the stuff you put out. We know
Joker
you'll put
2.
out stuff. So it does just make it way more bizarre that this happened. And continues to be one of the most perplexing decisions from a company that has happened. It's truly so bizarre. As for if we'll ever see it, I think things often eventually find the light of day. Maybe, in 10 years, once it feels like a thing of the past that, they're not worried about it harming the brand or whatever, and it's well in the distant past, someone will finally take it off of a hard drive.
I don't know. It feels like every movie they put out harms the brand.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can see it eventually coming out, but the time of it getting a proper release of some kind is long behind us.
Yeah, so I would say about if it would come out, probably not, because I think the thing working so much against it, rightly or wrongly, is that it is connected to the DCEU. It is connected to Batman vs. Superman. It's connected to Justice League. I think because of that, and you just see, no one misses the DCEU.
Yeah.
No one misses it. I think that hurts it, but I think the one thing that could make it so it's not definite, we'll never see it, is that you have Michael Keaton as Batman. You have, I think, regardless of what your favorite Batman movie is, most people agree he's the best live-action Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think maybe there's a chance because people would want to see Keaton. But I do think part of that also relies on how much was he in the movie. Was he in 4 scenes or was he in 1?
Yeah.
So, there's that. And, maybe, look, who knows what could happen in the future. Maybe if one day they decide, you know what? Maybe if they decide, hey, look, the shared universe isn't for us anymore, maybe they'll think about doing a Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton, whether it's animated or live action. And I'll be honest, I don't think you can Batman Beyond, and look, some people might say I'm crazy. I don't think you can do a Batman Beyond without Michael Keaton. I really don't know if that premise, without a beloved previous Batman as Bruce Wayne, would really work. And,
right.
Who else is there? You're not going to get George Clooney. Bale, I don't think. That doesn't make any sense. Affleck, there's, Pattinson, no. I think Keaton is really the only one people would go for a Batman Beyond movie, animated or live action.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, before they rebooted the DCEU, which really you reboot it before you start to have good ideas, they were going to do a Batman Beyond movie with Keaton. That was the plan.
Yeah.
They were going to bring back Michelle Pfeiffer as Selena Kyle. So maybe, or most immediate future, because look, we are going to get Paramount coming in and taking over soon, probably. I don't want it to happen, but I just think that because there's precedent with Disney taking over Fox, I don't see how they can, if they couldn't stop Disney taking over Fox, I don't think anyone could stop Paramount from taking over Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that. As much as I don't want that merger to happen. But new owners, and you know what we're 3 years away from? That movie turning 40 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? It's on a hard drive. Why not just dump it on HBO Max and say, here you go, 40th anniversary special. But I think it's unlikely to happen, but God, do I want to see it. I want to see it so bad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do either of those scenarios, do you think there's a chance about what the 40th anniversary or if they get Keaton in a Batman Beyond?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely see the 40th anniversary as an option. The other thing that popped in my head is just like, someday Michael Keaton, like us all, will pass away.
No.
And I know, but
don't go there.
It kind of feels like, there are times to put it out. Let's hope it's just the 40th anniversary that it happens with.
Yeah, we do have a clip, a behind-the-scenes clip that's awesome. Did you ever see it online? It's a clip of the directors. By the way, these directors have a solid track record.
Yeah.
Okay? And by the way, I don't care what Zaslav says. Oh, well, we don't put movies that we don't believe in. Well, you put out Supergirl and you tried to hide the reviews. You are a liar. You are liars.
Yeah.
So I don't believe this crap that it was unreleasable. I think what it was is that people compared it to the CW. I think it was they felt it was too low stakes for a movie. I think that's what it was. I think it felt like a TV show. I think that's what happened.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Because you look at these guys' track record, these directors, they have a really solid track record. Mm-hmm. So what are we doing? But there is a clip online of the two directors in front of the Batmobile, Keaton's Batmobile, saying, I'm this director, and behind them, Michael Keaton pops up and goes, I'm Batman. That's all we have so far, Batgirl.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's kind of the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah, just one more appearance with him as Batman.
Yeah.
At least it's that little promo.
Yeah. Did you hear what Michael Keaton did, though, when the cancellation happened? He sent them... He had some of his stuff from the Batman Returns premiere. He signed a bunch of it and sent it to the directors and sent them a note saying, sorry for what happened, had a really good time making the movie, signed Bruce Wayne.
That's nice.
Yes. Yeah. So I do hope that one day we get to see it. It would make up for suffering through this James Gunn universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we'll move on to our last topic then.
Let's do it.
Yes. So for you guys who don't know, we are, well, actually by the time this comes out, we're probably like a week away from Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah.
So, you know what's been going around on a trend recently is people ranking like their favorite Spider-Man movies. Some people rank their favorite Batman movies. I could probably do that off the top of my head if I wanted to sometime this episode and get people to throw tomatoes at me, but whatever. So I figured, you know what? Now, we're going to keep it short because we've done this where this turns into full episodes. So it's going to keep it short and to a minimum. But I did rank all 10 Spider-Man movies. So that's all 8 of the live-action movies and both of the animated Spider-Verse movies. So there's not Civil War, there's not Infinity War, there's not Endgame, and there's not Venom 2, and there's not the Nicholas Hammond TV movies. So it's just, the movies people think of.
Spider-Man movies.
Yes. So, I don't know. Did you said you had top 3, right?
Yeah, I can do a top 3.
All right. So, I don't know who we wanted to have go first for this. I could always go first with mine.
Yeah, let's just do yours first.
All right. So, here's my ranking. I'll go from worst to best. And then I'll give a little detail about my top 3.
Yeah.
That way this will stay a segment and not try to be a spin-off into its own episode.
Yes.
All right, so at the very bottom, I have, for me, the worst one, Spider-Man Far From Home. Then, at number 9, I have Spider-Man Homecoming. Then, I wish I had numbered these. You know what? Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. This is me being so unprofessional right now. I didn't realize I was going to say the number, but that actually would make it easier to win for all of us.
I guess.
All right, so
maybe we should read all of them and rank all 1,000 Amazing Spider-Mans.
Oh yeah. Number 1, Amazing Spider-Man, number 402. I have no idea what happens in 402, but I'm assuming it was a good one. All right, so here we go. In last place, Spider-Man Far From Home. That for me is number 10. At number 9, I have Spider-Man Homecoming. At number 8, this one will get some people upset. But you know what, guys? That's the point of these lists. They're all going to be different. At number 8, I have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. At number 7, I have The Amazing Spider-Man 2. At number 6, I have Spider-Man No Way Home. At number 5, I have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And at number 4, I have Spider-Man 2002. So, these last 3, which probably will shock some people, these 3 are so close that any other day, I could rearrange them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I will say number 3 for me is Spider-Man 3 from 2007. I love that movie. I think that movie is an underrated masterpiece of superhero movies. I think it did a great job doing the black suit storyline from the comic books. I thought it did a great job tying up the story that we had with the first 3 movies, even though there was plans for a 4th movie. I think it builds to one of the exciting climaxes in the series with the fight at the construction site. I think Toby does a great job showing like a Peter who goes through a lot of range of emotions, right? He's on top of the world at the beginning of the movie. Then he goes to a really dark place with the guy who kind of ruined his life returning, the guy who killed Uncle Ben. And then you see Spider-Man go through a dark side and then kind of a Peter full of regret. I love the movie. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I have the first Amazing Spider-Man from 2012. I thought that it did such a great job rebooting Spider-Man. It did a great job of taking both the original Stan Lee origin, combining it with the Ultimate Spider-Man origin by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley from 2000, mixing them together and putting like a more modern Spider-Man together. I had been waiting for years for the Lizard to be in a Spider-Man movie, and it finally happened, and I loved it. Andrew Garfield is my favorite live-action Spider-Man actor, so I thought he was great in the movie. I think he was perfect casting, and I thought the climax again with like fighting the Lizard and the release of the gas of everyone turning to lizard people, that was exciting. Like for me, look, I know people were all about Avengers in 2012, and I love that 2012 Avengers, but for me, 2012 was the year of The Amazing Spider-Man. And so, of course, number 1, of course, I haven't mentioned it yet, is Spider-Man 2 from 2002 with Tobey Maguire. That takes my number one spot. I just think that it is the definitive Spider-Man movie. I think it really does a perfect job of showing why we love Spider-Man, why we love Peter Parker, him struggling with being the superhero and also trying to be Peter Parker, kind of the doubt he has to face where it's an existential crisis. And then you get Doc Ock, my favorite Spider-Man villain versus Spider-Man. You got so many great moments, whether you're talking about the train sequence, talking about the fight at, the Doc thing where the little sun thing is about to destroy the world, or New York. Then you have the shocking thing of Harry finds out that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and then you got that ending with Peter and MJ, probably the happiest ending of the Sam Raimi trilogy. It was in the second one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes it so that Spider-Man 2 takes my number one spot. So before I turn over to you, any surprises from that list, or were you just like, no, I've heard you enough, this sounds right?
I think that's the case. I think from hearing you talk about it before, I think that's probably about what I expected. Yeah. So my top three.
Before I get in, do you have a worst one off the top of your head or no? Or are you just like,
it's probably also Spider-Man Far From Home. Although I really wasn't a big into The Amazing Spider-Man 2 either, but I think I gotta put Far From Home at the bottom. My top three. So, number 3, I gotta go Spider-Man 1, or 2002, the first of the Sam Raimi trilogy. I just think it's one of my favorite superhero introduction movies. I love the Green Goblin in it. I think it's great. Number 2, I'm gonna put Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, and it's close to number 1. It's one of my favorite animated movies, period. It's one of the best movies from the 2010s to me. The art is incredible. The story is incredible. I love it. Number 1 is the same as yours. It's Spider-Man 2. I just remember the last time I rewatched it, the first time rewatching it in quite a while, I was just like, this is the perfect superhero movie.
Yeah.
Like, I have not a single complaint about it. It really, I think thinking about it, I think it is my favorite superhero movie ever made. It's really that good. So it has to be number 1.
Oh, yes. Spider-Man 2, great movie. Although, I would also like to bring up, I feel like we were ahead of every other movie show like ours. Do you remember in 2018, everyone was all about Infinity War and Black Panther and Aquaman made $1 billion, and we were like, Spider-Verse, baby, discover it. And then it felt like, it feels like more people discovered it through the pandemic, just finding it on Netflix.
Yeah, that's actually, like, I mean, I said this when we talked about Across the Spider-Verse, but it kind of remains my opinion that the high opinion of Across the Spider-Verse probably a little bit has to do with people retroactively going, this series is really amazing.
Yeah.
Like, because Across the Spider-Verse, they didn't finish the movie. It's, like, I still view it as half a movie. I loved it, but like I can't place it that high because it's half a movie.
Yeah.
I just that's why I put Into the Spider-Verse higher at my number 2. But yeah, I just feel like some people were late to realizing how amazing that movie was.
Oh yes. So there we go, guys. Let's see where Spider-Man Brand New Day ends up.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean,
Hopefully
I
not
don't
the
think it'll
bottom.
be in the top 3. That's asking too much, but
Yeah.
still.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So we've gone through all the segments. We have.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we can say we've done that.
Wow.
So you know what that means?
I guess it means rabbit hole?
Rabbit hole! That's right.
Yeah. You can just hear that Looney Tunes
Yeah, that's right.
falling down.
Oh, yes. All right. Here's one I've been meaning to ask for a while. I never get around to it. And I said, no, today's the day.
Okay, then I guess today's the day.
All right. What video game would you like to see turned into a movie or series? Like right now, we are really living in a video game renaissance where it seems like everything is being adapted. So what is one that you're really just like, man, that could be awesome?
Yeah, wow.
You know what? You can even open it up for 2 because I kind of have 2 in my mind. So if you have 2, go ahead and throw it. We can open it up and not just do 1. We can throw it up to 2.
Yeah. Now the my head is first going to heavily story-driven games. But a lot of those are already kind of playable movies. So even though something like Life is Strange popped into my head, I kind of don't think it needs to be made into a movie because it's already basically a playable movie. I guess the answer that feels a little bit it's a very common answer for people. In fact, I'm in a Facebook group where people are talking about it constantly. And my honest thought is like, I really don't think this is ever going to happen. And I think people talk about it too much for how little I think it's ever going to happen. Like, people are acting like someday there's going to be, it's a Metroid movie. So people talk about it like someday there's going to be a Metroid movie. And I'm like, I really don't think that's a popular enough Nintendo franchise for there to ever be a Metroid movie. But maybe. And I do think it's one of the most exciting ideas for a epic sci-fi movie. I would love to see Metroid. And yeah, and it's one of the people, like, I think there's even a Zelda movie being made. I've always been very skeptical of, like, I kind of don't think Zelda would work as a live action. Like, I think animated would work for Zelda, but I kind of don't want to see it as a live action movie.
Isn't that what they're planning? Is a live action movie?
I believe so. I've always been skeptical of that, though. Like, yeah, it could be great, but because Zelda's fantastic. It's like maybe my favorite game series, but yeah, ultimately, if there was like a live action movie to be made, particularly from a Nintendo franchise, I think Metroid would be the one that would make more sense live action. So yeah, that's what comes to my mind. I'll let you know if anything else comes to my mind, but I'm curious what yours is.
All right, so I have a main one, and then I'll bring up a second one too. So my main one is my favorite video game franchise that isn't Batman or Spider-Man, and that is Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
Yes, that is. You know what? I literally just bought the first one because I knew it was free world, like Grand Theft Auto, and was from the makers of it. I was not expecting, like, honestly, like, it changed my opinion on video games in a way. Like, I used to be like, video games are not like movies or TV. But then those games made me think, no, man, video games are another way to tell stories. They are works of art unto their own. It's just you gotta work to see what comes next, and sometimes it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's really, really hard. But yeah, the Red Dead Redemption series, that is one I would love to see as a movie or TV series. The other one is, it only had one game, but it's from Rockstar too. It's L.A. Noire. It's
yeah.
a detective one set in the 1940s. That I've been playing that one the past week again, because I rebought it for PS5 because I didn't know what's the thing. Is it DSL where you buy extra stuff later?
DLC.
Yeah, I didn't know that was available for the PS3 when I got it, and then I find out, oh, it's on sale for PS5, and I get 7 new cases. Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that. So
Yeah.
I've been replaying it. Oh, I think it's great. Even though, spoiler alert for a game from 2010, Cole Phelps, the main character, has one of the most unheroic deaths ever in any media, where he drowns and he drowns and gets swept away. Okay. Now, for some reason, they only used one take of the actor's scream, and let's just say he did not die honorably. He was screaming. He fought to the end. He was terrified of his end. And, in some ways, it's very relatable because I won't lie. That is probably what my reaction would be, too. But in a fictional story, you'd hope to go out with more honor, more like, this is it, guys. Not, oh, God, no!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's funny.
Yes.
The other what I just thought of, which this would be continuing my line of constantly getting my hopes up that an epic fantasy can work as a movie, particularly one based on a video game. But a good Elder Scrolls movie, that would be great. Which is the series of Skyrim. That would be a great movie if they could make that work.
Oh, yes. I'll also bring this up, too, because I'm curious. I don't know what your answer would be. Who would you say is your favorite video game character of all time?
Wow. That's tough. Because, yeah, in a lot of, I do play a lot of games that are slightly less story-driven or don't have a lot of dialogue, but I don't know, what's yours?
I would say, so I'm going to take out Arkham Batman. I'm going to take out Insomniac Spider-Man. Because let's be fair, guys. But I will say, once again, Red Dead Redemption, I will go John Marston. Especially because once you have, even though he's not the main character of the second one, which is a prequel, when you now having the second one, having that whole arc, knowing his whole story, it just made me appreciate the character even more.
Yeah.
So that's the one I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. A couple of favorites that I thought of. One, I brought up Life is Strange earlier. Chloe is a character that I think anyone who's a fan of that series has a deep love for. But another one that popped into my head that would be a good movie, quite a spectacle, but also one of my favorite characters, Horizon Zero Dawn. Aloy, the main character, is also a great character, and that first game, couldn't get into the second game for some reason, but that first game, she has an amazing story arc, and I barely remember why at this point, but Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the only pieces of media I've cried at the end of, because I was so moved by Aloy's character development. So that's one of my favorite characters for sure.
Oh, yes. Now, I don't know if I've asked this one before. Maybe I have, but maybe it was years ago. Look, when you get to season 10, you're bound to repeat yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
So, again, I brought movie marathons earlier, what to you, if you could sit down, it's like a weekend, you're like, I'm going to go through this movie series. What to you is the best movie marathon experience?
I mean, I wouldn't be honest if I didn't just say my go-to answer, which is Lord of the Rings. It, to me, is the perfect movie marathon. I know it's a staple for many people's movie watching lives to occasionally have a Lord of the Rings marathon, but it's one of the only movie series where I do just like I feel like I gotta just watch the whole thing in one go as a marathon. Uh, like I'm rarely gonna just watch the first one or just watch the second one or something. It's an experience to have over like a weekend or a day, and it just can't be beat. As far as just watching all back to back. I mean, the original Star Wars trilogy is the thing that I can think of that comes the closest. But yeah, it's all Lord of the Rings to me.
Oh yes. I think last summer did just the trilogy, Star Wars trilogy by itself.
Hmm.
And I was like, that was nice. It was a nice it was just shorter experience too, but it was nice to just do kind of the classic sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes it's almost good to alternate between sometime doing the trilogy, sometime George's saga, and then sometimes just the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, the definitive movie marathon for me is the original 1989 through 1997 Batman film series. That to me is just like, yeah, that is the definitive. That is my favorite live action version of Batman. Now, some people might ask, do you add the Flash into there? I would say no, and I love the Flash. I love it. But I had to learn this the hard way with Civil War. If you just want Batman or you just want Spider-Man, when the Flash or Captain America are on screen, you're like, all right, guys, let's get a move on. Let's get a move on. I want to see the other guy. So that's why, Flash is like great if you're doing like a whole DC universe, but if you just want Batman, that's one to save for another time. Nice little treat to save for another time.
Right.
Well, I don't know if I asked that because I brought movie marathons. What is your preferred way to go through movie series? Do you like going through the whole movie series kind of in one sitting, or do you like doing like, well, I'll watch this one, maybe a few weeks later I'll watch the second one, or...
That way is definitely the way I do it most often. It's probably the only way I really do it, except for the deliberate yearly Lord of the Rings marathon, which I do back to back to back. I generally do want the breaks with most other movie marathons where I'm there's a couple days in between usually.
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone else ever has this, but like, do you feel like if you're gonna watch like a second movie in a series, that you should have watched the first one recently? Because I'll be honest, if I just pop on The Dark Knight and I haven't watched Batman Begins recently, I'm saying to myself, this is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. This is a sin. Do you ever think, or are you just like, no, I'll watch whatever I want. No one is in control of me.
It's not as far as thinking that it's a sin, but I do feel very like afraid of being forgetful and not having it be fresh enough. So usually if there's a sequel, I do get into the headspace of like really wanting to I just really like to have the first one fresh in my head before going into the sequel.
Oh, yes. By the way, this brought up something that I spent an unhealthy amount of time thinking about. And everyone who listens to this will say, why was this a concern for you? But it was.
Oh.
So, do you know about the Warner Brothers disc rot?
No.
So, because of an issue that happened in from 2004 to 2006, the DVDs Warner Brothers made at a plant in I think Pennsylvania or something, 20 years later, those discs are all now rotting. So, check them, guys, because some of them aren't going to work anymore. I've had to experience many times. Yeah, so
that's kind of like old Pokemon games, like if you try and buy a Game Boy Color Pokemon Red copy or something, a lot of them can't save anymore. You can play the game, but a lot of copies can't save anymore, and that's terrifying to me.
Yeah, you gotta pause it and make sure the battery doesn't die.
Yeah.
So I had to replace a Looney Tunes box set, okay? And it was a re-release. So, when it first came out, this Volume 5, it was a nice box set. And, the re-release now is just a regular DVD case. And I spent an unhealthy amount of time thinking, I prefer the old DVD case. Is it wrong to still use that case and just swap out the discs? Is it wrong for me to do this? And I spent an unhealthy amount of time thinking about that. Do I just suck it up and use the new case? Or do I think, no, I was there early. I want the old box case that looks nice.
Yes. I mean, I think it's fine to switch.
So
but...
I spent days thinking about this, contemplating it.
Yeah.
Then I decided I'm gonna switch them, and then once I did, I was like, if this is wrong, I don't want to be right. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
All right.
I think you made the right call.
Yes. So what's your preference for TV shows? Weekly episodes, weekly episode releases, or all at once?
So I guess I have an interesting answer for this, because I do pretty strongly feel I like weekly. I think that's just a better way to engage with it. It keeps it in your mind for a little bit longer. More delayed gratification, sort of. But the thing I realized with this, I guess end of last year, I put The Pit end of last year. I put The Pit as my favorite TV series of that year. The second season happened this year, and I liked it, but with that specific series, I feel like it really kind of needed to all be released all at once. Because there's a benefit with the way that story is told, with it being hour to hour in a shift of healthcare workers. Binging them back to back just makes sense. Even if you don't get through the whole 15 hours in one sitting, which, why would you? Binging a few episodes back to back just kind of makes sense, and it made it feel like it dragged on more when it was week to week. Because the first season was released all at once, the second season was released week to week. And that was the only time I've ever been like, I kind of think this should have been all at once. Almost every other situation, I prefer week to week.
Oh, yeah. So for me, I do prefer weekly episode releases, just because it's feels like you get to visit those characters more often.
Yeah.
I remember I intentionally chose that I was going to watch The Paper weekly, and I felt like that it was really nice to revisit those characters all the time.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Noir, that new live-action show I've been watching weekly, and it's just been really nice to be like, all right, I get to see new Spider-Man live-action story almost every week, and I do much more prefer that versus it's just like if you watch it all at once, it's like, all right, I binged it on now. All this waiting is over. Like
Yeah.
the hype is gone. There's nothing left.
Yeah.
And with TV shows now, it will be another 2 to 3 years before the next season.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we want to do maybe just two more rabbit hole questions?
Sure. All right. Speaking of the paper,
Yeah.
what other Dunder Mifflin character besides Oscar do you think would be a good addition to the paper? Now that we've seen these characters, this cast of characters, which other person from Dunder Mifflin, if they were going to add another one to join Oscar, who do you think would fit in well with that group of characters?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that pops in my head, because, you just throw them in anywhere and it's funny, is Creed. But on a little further thought, I almost feel like something like Toby would be good, because like you're sort of seeing his continued torture by his life. Like he just can't escape. And he can be equally exasperated by the new characters. So something like that would be good.
Oh, yes. One character I thought could really work as like a journalist, kind of like how, Oscar's also like the art critic.
Yeah.
One person I thought is, you know what? She did audition for a news anchor thing in the final season.
Oh.
What if they did Aaron? I think she could fit in with those characters and go out
that's
and
a
do
really good
stories
idea.
with them.
That's a really good idea, and I actually, obviously, like, Aaron came in the later seasons, but the thing, as time has gone on, that I have come to think about the paper is it feels in tone and feel, it feels like a later season of The Office, but like really good episodes of it's like the best episodes from the later seasons of The Office. It's like if you got a really good season 7, or even, dare I say, season 8, like a really good episode from there. It feels a little like that.
Oh, yes. So I guess we'll go with this last one. This is one I've been thinking about for a while.
Okay.
Because, sometimes in this world, we want to try and be a little bit positive, right?
Yeah.
We are now coming up on 3 years since the DC Extended Universe ended. And obviously, it was a very controversial movie series. It was not like the MCU or the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
But, and maybe this is a two-part thing, now that the dust has been settled, and we're 3 years removed from it now, what do you think is a positive legacy it has? And maybe, like, I almost have one that I think for society, one that I personally have. That is its legacy for me. But I guess if you had to look back at the DCEU, even through all its controversy and highs and lows, removing Henry Cavill's mustache from Justice League, what do you think is a positive legacy? Because let's not rewrite history and say it was all failure. But what is there anything that pops up to you like this was a positive legacy it leaves behind?
Yeah, I mean, this is a hard question for me because, to be honest, like, as many as there might be some good reviews of DCEU movies that I've done in the past and on this podcast, with the dust settling, I've ultimately felt like I'm not too impressed with what was left there. I don't think, like, the DCEU did not produce the best of really any character in it. You could argue maybe Wonder Woman is the one where But there aren't as many comparisons to make there. Um, so, but maybe I'll try and dig and find something, because that's what the question is what positive legacy is there? I think there are moments where things sort of shined and the gears were turning for the brief moments that did happen. There are some moments of Justice League where Superman actually felt like Superman, and there are plenty of moments where Ben Affleck really shines as a good Batman. I think that there are glimmers of good performances throughout, and so we get some good performances from the characters. And yeah, just little glimmers of that throughout. As far as an impact on society, though, I don't know. I don't know if they're. I don't know what there is. I'd be on that. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
Okay, I'd almost ask something, but I know I see we're running out of time. But real quick question, just because I see people bring it up so many times, people bring up the DCEU damaged the DC brand, and I know I am not kind of the main person, because I'm just like, hey, when I think of DC the last few years, I don't think of the DCEU. I think of the Arrowverse. I think of Justice League Action, the cartoon show. I think of the animated movies. I think of Gotham, Superman, Lois. Yeah. But I'm just curious. I'm not trying to feed you an answer or anything, but when you think of DC the last few years, is it the DCEU that you think of, or do you think of other stuff like the Arkham games or whatever? Or when you think of DC, the last era of DC, is it the DCEU that pops into your head? As someone who doesn't live and breathe it like I do?
Yeah, it's probably been replaced by comics and the Batman. Yeah, it's probably been already replaced by more recent stuff for me. If you were talking about more like a Justice League like team, then I am thinking of that group. But I think it's generally been replaced.
Okay, so for me, I think its legacy for society, for everyone else, is I think Wonder Woman. I think it was the movie, because remember, that movie's not just the first DCEU Wonder Woman. That's her Richard Donner Superman. That's her Tim Burton Batman. Like, that movie finally made her a movie star, and it worked. Yeah. It was really one of the few movies that they had that really lived up to the DCEU's full potential.
Yeah.
And for me personally, and again, when I think of the DCEU, this is honest. I'm not just saying this. This is honestly what I think of. I think of the return of Michael Keaton. That Michael Keaton in The Flash, when I think of the DCEU, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
So for me, that is its legacy.
Okay. So part of its legacy is just an older version. But it's a legacy nonetheless.
Yes. And again, when I think of DC the last few years, the first thing I think of is the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of. But then after like the Justice League action cartoon that brought back Kevin Conroy, I think of Michael Keaton in The Flash. That's really what I think of for the DCEU.
Well, there you go.
Yes. So guys, there we go with this special. Well, not special. This regular episode of Comment Section.
Episode, yes.
That felt special because we talked a lot about Spider-Man. That's right. So, guys, there we go. Our last episode before Spider-Man Brand New Day. It'll be a brand new day for Comment Section when that movie's behind us.
Yes, it will.
Yes. So, guys, there you go. And while you are in line waiting to go in to see the movie, go turn to the person next to you, ask them a random pop culture question, and then guess what? You'll find that you have fallen down a rabbit hole. Until the movie starts to play, keep falling down that rabbit hole.